Everyone, I think we'll go ahead and get started with our presentation today. So hello and welcome everyone to the Wellness Webinar Series. It's so nice to see you all. My name is Jessica and I am with Cure SMA's Community Support Department. We're so glad to have you join us for today's yoga therapy presentation. And we are so grateful to our presenting sponsor, Genentech, for supporting this series and allowing us to offer these opportunities to really take time out of our lives to focus on and be mindful about our own wellness. I did want to note that attendees are muted during the webinar, and if you do have any feedback or questions, you can always submit those throughout the webinar using the chat box feature, and you can find that located on your toolbar. There is also a raise hand feature located on your toolbar, and we encourage you to use that during the Q&A portion of today's presentation. And if you have any additional questions after the presentation, you can always contact the Cure SMA Community Support Team at communitysupport@curesma.org. And now I'd like to give a warm welcome to our presenter, Anne Buckley-Reen. Many of you may be familiar with her. She's presented at our annual SMA conference, some of our Summit of Strengths, and other virtual webinars as well. Anne is an occupational therapist and a yoga therapist for over 20 years, and today she will be sharing about therapeutic yoga for SMA. Welcome, Anne.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. So we're going to talk today about doing yoga, and let's start out by talking about where and when we can do our practice. We can do yoga in bed, we can do it in our wheelchair, we can do it on a mat, and we can do it basically any time of the day. I find it's wonderful to do a little practice to start the day. You can also do another little practice to end the day. And because there are many parts to a yoga practice, we can pick and choose which ones we want to do to help support our energy, our balance throughout the day. So let's go on to the next slide. So yoga's been around for 6,000 years. Yoga began, it's an Eastern tradition that began over 6,000 years ago, and it was really designed by high priests and scholars in India to develop a sense of homeostasis in the body and the brain. It helps to support our mental and physical health and overall wellness. For something to be around for 6,000 years as a practice, we know that there's something to this, for sure. Let's go on to the next slide. Okay. So there are 5 parts of yoga. And actually there are 8 parts, but we, for therapeutic yoga, are going to focus on 5. We're going to start with a meditation. Today we're going to add in a little warm up. We're going to go into a breathing exercise, then a series of postures, relaxation exercises, and a circle of song, a call and response singing. And after we do our practice, I'm going to talk to you about what each of these parts offer us, just in terms of our overall physical, mental, and energy levels in our body. Okay, so let's go on to the next slide. So before we do yoga, we definitely want to prepare. You can use quiet, soothing background music, meditation music, if you'd like. You can also do yoga in a quiet space without any background music. It's really important, though, that when we practice our yoga, we do it in a quiet space. And that means that if there are other family members around or other roommates around, that we ask that there be no background noise so that we can really totally focus on this activity, or as we call it, our practice. Okay? We want to make sure that we adapt our seating so that we have optimal mobility, but also optimal safety. So if you are able to support your upper body and be able to move forward and back without a chest harness, we want to make sure that that's off. We always want to keep our seatbelt on for safety. Okay? We want flat on our foot plates. Today's practice. If you are out of your chair and you are in a chair, a chair in the house, you want to make sure that you have armrests on the chair and that your feet are flat on the floor. okay? You may, if you have difficulty maintaining an upright posture, you may want to just have a pillow either alongside you to just support you, or perhaps alongside your behind your lower back, all right? And then the last thing that we do before we begin our yoga practice is we set an intention. And what that means is that we think of a word or a phrase that's kind of going to guide us for today. What is my goal? What is my intention for today? And so my personal intention will be for peace, for inner peace, okay? So you can start by just closing your eyes for a moment and think of an intention to begin your day. And while you're setting your intention, we'll put me up on the big screen and I will guide you in our practice. Okay, so we'll begin today with a meditation, and today's meditation will be guided. What we're going to do is we're going to float with our breath, and I am going to say a word, a series of words actually, and we will breathe in with the word and breathe out with the word. And this is going to be a series of positive words that just help. Positive words create positive energy. So we'll start our practice with just bringing that energy in, okay? So you can close your eyes, place your hands in your lap, bring your shoulders down away from your ears, and let's begin. I breathe in peace. I breathe out peace. I breathe in calm. I breathe out calm. I breathe in hope. I breathe out hope. I breathe in joy. I breathe out joy. I breathe in calm. I breathe out calm. I breathe in energy. I breathe out energy. I breathe in clarity. I breathe out clarity. I breathe in guidance. I breathe out guidance. I breathe in support. I breathe out support. I breathe in compassion. I breathe out compassion. I breathe in joy. I breathe out joy. Now resume your normal breathing. Let's open our eyes. And let's now proceed to a little tapping warm-up to prepare our body for our posture series. So we're going to start with just a little tapping, and either you can tap yourself, or if you've got somebody there with you helping, they can do this tapping. If you've got someone helping, we want to make sure that they set an intention before they tap. And this is really important because whenever we touch someone else, we want to make sure that our touch is a positive touch. So thinking a positive thought is something that's really, really helpful. So any helpers here, close your eyes, think a positive thought. And a positive thought I always think when I'm doing therapeutic movement with my clients is, I'm here to help. Okay, so that's a really nice positive thought to send out there. Okay, so now let's just take our hand and we're going to tap, tap, tap from our wrist up to our shoulder. And we're just getting our circulation and blood flowing. Okay, so up and down the arm. Not too hard and not too soft. And let's go to the other side. So let's tap, 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 up and down. And this is really great if you're sedentary much of the time. This really helps to get that circulation and the oxygenated blood flowing, okay? I'll start with our hips and we're gonna tap the outsides of our, all the way down to our feet. So just tap, tap, tap. This is sending signals to our brain. through our tactile system, our touch system, and just up and down the outside of our legs. And I'm going to move back just a little bit so you can see a little bit more of me. Okay? All right. So now we've warmed up a bit, and you can tap as long as you like. You can even do some rubbing up and down the arms as well. I think now, though, for time's sake, we'll move on to the next part of our practice. So now we'll introduce a little breathing exercise. And there are hundreds of breathing exercises in yoga. When we don't think about it, we breathe automatically. When we put our mind to it, we can control our breath. We can lengthen the inhalation, lengthen the exhalation. And so we're going to start today with a sound breath. And what a sound breath does is it will help to vibrate our lungs. So let's take a deep breath in, and let's make the sound of ah, the vowel sound. Okay, so join me. Breath in and go ah. Very good. Okay, let's take a regular breath in between, and we'll do one more ah breath. Okay, so when you're ready, let's take a deep breath in, and let's make the sound of ah. Very good. I'll introduce you to some more breathing exercises after we do our practice. All right, so from here, it's time for us to do some postures. I'm going to move a little bit closer to the camera for the upper body movements, and I'll move further away for the lower body. Okay, so let's begin by just gently turning our head from side to side. So first turn to one side, come back to center, and then over to the other side, and back to center. Let's do that again. Over to one side, back to center, and then over to the other side. And I'll do each movement 2 times. This will help if you're slow to get started or you need a little extra time. Don't worry about keeping up. Just do it at your own pace, okay? All right, so from here now, we're going to stretch the muscles in our upper back by bringing our chin down to our chest. So chin is down, and just breathe in and out. And feel the opening in your upper back. Next breath in, chin comes up. And on your next breath out, we'll do that again. Let's bring our chin back down to our chest. Keep breathing. Inhale, and head comes back up. Good show. Okay, now we can do some nose circles. So you can imagine that your nose is up against the window and you're drawing circles with your nose. So let's make some head circles. First in one direction, and then in the other. And back to center. Very good. From here now, we're going to bring our arms up over our head. And for many of us, this will not be possible unless we have somebody here to help us. So what we're going to do is, if you are there and you are unable to move your arms all the way up, you're going to visualize that your arms are going up. So that means you are going to imagine that I am lifting my arms up. So you're going to move as far as you can, and then imagine that your arms are going all the way up over your head. We're sending a signal to our brain. Let's breathe in and out. And bring those arms down. Now, a modification of this pose is, if you are sitting in front of a table, you can bring your arms and slide your arms along the table. Let's bring your forehead down onto the table. So this way, you're extending all the way out, as you bend forward. Inhale and come on back up. We're going to hold on to our elbows. And again, we're going to bring our arms up over our head. So let's breathe in and out. And next breath out, we can bring our arms back down. Let's try that one more time. And if you're assisting, you can hold on to the elbows, wrap the hands, hold on to the elbows, and let's take a breath in and let's bring our arms all the way up. If you can only bring your arms to your nose, that's perfectly fine, or to your forehead. I've been doing this for a while, so I can make a big window and breathe. On our next breath out, let's slowly lower our arms down, open our hands and arms, and let's just shake our arms out at our sides. So shake those arms a bit. Okay, so let's place our hands. I'm going to bring my screen down a little bit so you can see my hands on my legs. I'm going to place my hands on my knees, and we're going to rotate our hands up and down. So bring our hands halfway. This is particularly hard for many of us with SMA to be able to, they call this supination and pronation. And this is a place where many people have a lot of restrictions. It's very difficult to bring our palms up. So just go as far as you can, okay? So open and shut, hands up and down, and we'll do that 2 more times. Open and down, and 1 more time. Open and down. Beautiful. Okay. Now it's time for us to do a little rotation. So we're going to do some twisting postures now, okay? So we'll start by taking our left hand and bringing it across to our right knee. We're going to now twist and look over this right shoulder. And on the screen, it'll be opposite for you. Keep breathing. Next breath out, come on back to center. Let's do that again. Bring your hand across to your opposite knee. Twist and look over that shoulder, just as far as you can, as long as you're breathing, and breathe. Next exhalation, come on back to center, and we'll go to the other side. So let's switch hands. Now, right hand comes across left knee. Our left hand can hang down at our side, or it can just be on our chair. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, twist and look over that left shoulder. Next exhalation, come on back to center. If at any time during practice you need to take a break, take a break. Sit and watch. Make sure that you're breathing nice and slow and deep, and then join us when you're ready, okay? All right, for our next practice, we are going to work our back a little bit. So this is a seated, what we call seated cat-cow pose. So we are going to curl up and drop back, and then we're going to bring our belly and our chest forward and open our knees up. So we curl and look in our belly, and then we open up and stick our chest, our heart, our belly forward, okay? So back, curl and look at your belly, and then come forward, open your knees, and bring your chest forward. Now, if this is your very first time doing yoga, you can start by just opening and closing your knees. Maybe bringing your head up and back a little bit. Don't be so concerned about how far you get. What we want to do is initiate movement. First thing, breath and movement, okay? All right. It's time now for us to do another little twist. So we'll drop our arms at our sides and we'll just shake it out. So swing those arms as far as you can. Swing and twist. And back to center. Good show. Now, many of us have issues with digestion and elimination. And that's whether or not you have SMA. That's part of being a human being. And so yoga has some wonderful solutions that helps us with digestion and elimination. And one of the best, and this is one that you can do in bed. I'm gonna demonstrate in the chair, but this is a great one to do in bed in the morning. You bring your knee to your chest. So you start with your right knee, and this actually stimulates your colon. Okay, so right knee to chest, and you can bring your nose to your knee. If that's uncomfortable, keep your head up and breathe. And I'll count in my head as we're breathing. And on your next exhalation, we're going to bring that knee back down. If you're in bed on your back, that knee is up to your chest. And on our last release, we're going to stretch that leg all the way out. We did our right leg first. That's our ascending colon. Now we're going to work on our descending colon so that this is going to help move the elimination through our body. So hands below the knee, bring that knee up to the chest, take a deep breath in, bring your forehead to your knee if that's comfortable. Otherwise, keep your head up and let's breathe. Inhale, and on our next breath out, let's bring our feet back down onto the floor, onto our chair. Okay. From here, what I'd like to do is a forward bend. So a forward bending posture. If you have the ability to move forward, some people are able to go all the way forward, others it's going to be more restricted. So I have a bolster here, and you can just use a pillow. If you have restrictions to go forward, you can just slide your hands along and come on down like this, okay? Or arms crossed and put your forehead on your hands. Otherwise, at this point, we take a deep breath in. We can slide our hands along our legs and come all the way down, bringing our forehead down to our knees. This is another great one that's stimulating our digestive organs, among other things, opening up our lower back, and breathe. Inhale and slowly come back up. If you feel fine, we're going to do that again. So let's take a deep breath in. And as we breathe out, let's slide our hands down along our legs, come all the way down to the floor, or as far down as is comfortable, and keep breathing. Next inhalation, slowly come on back up. Good show. Before we stretch out our legs, let's throw in one more spinal twist here, okay? So take a deep breath in, and let's cross one hand over, and let's twist and look over that shoulder. As we breathe out, come on back to center, and we'll do this to the other side. Hand comes across, let's twist and look over our opposite shoulder. Next exhalation, come on back to center. Okay. It's time now to stretch our legs out. So we're going to point our toes, our knees. If we can, we're going to see if we can stretch our legs forward. Okay. So you may bring your feet off of your foot plates You can have your heels on the floor if that's possible, or on the edge of your foot plates. And what we're going to do is point our toes up to our nose and then down to the floor. So we are moving our foot up and down, okay? So toes towards the nose and then down to the floor. Up and down. Again, toes to the nose and then down to the floor. Okay, very good. Let's drop our legs apart, opening our knees, and then bring our feet back together. So open up our legs, our extended legs, bring our feet back together. Let's do that one more time. Open up our legs, and then bring our knees back together. Walk your feet, bring your feet back so that your knees are bent. And let's just massage our hips by rocking our knees from side to side. And back to center. Now close your eyes for a moment and just check your body. Notice how you feel. If you feel that there's any part of your body that needs a little more attention, give that area attention now. If you feel like there's a pose you'd like to do again, do that now, okay? So this is an opportunity for us to just complete the posture portion of our practice before we move on to our deep relaxation. So deep relaxation is a very important part of our yoga practice. And this is the time that we are going to release the tension that we hold in our muscles and our joints. We're going to open up our chest. We're going to really try to help release restrictions. And this is also the time when our brain integrates the benefits of what we just did. So I'd like everyone to get comfortable. You can sit back in your chair, lean back if you are in a chair, close your eyes, and just listen to my voice. So now we are going to bring our attention to our feet, the soles of our feet, the skin on the top and bottom of our feet, the arches of our feet. Wiggle your toes, or imagine wiggling your toes, and then let your feet be quiet. Bring your awareness now to your ankles and your lower legs. As you breathe in and out, notice any sensations that you're feeling in your lower legs. From your ankles all the way up to your knees. Notice the front of your legs and the backs of your legs. And as you breathe in peace. And as you breathe out any stress or tension that you're holding in your lower legs or in your feet. Now bring your awareness up to your knees, from your knees up to your hips. Notice the tops of your legs, the sides of your legs, and the backs of your legs. As you breathe in a sensation of peace and calm. And as you breathe out, release again any tension or tightness that you may be feeling in any part of your legs. Scan your body from your toes up to your hips. And as you breathe in and out, release even more deeply any stress or tension that you're feeling in the lower part of your body. Continue to breathe nice and slow and deep. Now bring your awareness to your spine, to the lowest part of your back, the base of your spine. And as you breathe in, imagine your spine is lengthening and opening up. And as you breathe out, keep that opening, keep that space that you've just envisioned in your lower back, releasing any stress or tension that you might be feeling in this part of your body. Slowly moving up your back with each breath. We're going to be extending our spine, lengthening our spine, loosening our spine, and releasing any tightness, tension, or stress that we're holding along the length of our back. Softening the muscles on both sides of our spine, releasing and relaxing. So let's breathe in peace and relaxation. And let's breathe out any stress or tension that we're feeling the whole length of our back. Now let's bring our attention to the front side of our body, to our belly. As we breathe in, we notice that our belly fills and expands. It's our diaphragm working. And as we breathe out, our belly compresses and flattens. So inhale and fill, and exhale and empty. It's like we're inflating a balloon, and then we're deflating the balloon. So filling up and emptying out. We're getting rid of all the stale air, and we're bringing in nice, clean, clear air into our bodies. Moving up into our chest and heart space. Now we're going to imagine this part of our body is opening, extending. And as we breathe in, we fill ourselves up. As we breathe out, we're releasing any stress or tension that we may be holding in this part of our body. So opening up our chest, opening up our heart space, and with our exhalation, releasing any stress or tension that we're holding here. Let's take a couple of breaths, focusing on our heart space. Now bring your awareness up to your shoulders, across the front and back of your body. So this whole circle here. And as we breathe in, release any tension that you're holding in your shoulders, across your upper chest, across the top of your back. Breathing in and breathing out. Nice and slow and deep. Now let's take our hands and let's make a fist with both hands. Don't have to squeeze tight, bend your fingers, and we're going to tense the muscles in our arms. So create any tension that you can from your hands up to your shoulders. Take a deep breath in. And as we breathe out, release that tension that's in our arms and our hands. Let the muscles soften, let them relax. Take your hands and just make slow circles on your knees. So just doing these slow circles with our hands, relaxing our arms and our upper back. And a little bit deeper into our relaxation. From here, now, let's bring our awareness to our throat. Let's open our mouth. And let's release any tension that we're feeling in our mouth, in our throat, in our jaw. Bring your tongue away from the roof of your mouth. Soften your cheeks. Relax your eyes, your eyebrows, and the point between your eyes. Soften your forehead. And then finally, the top of your head, the sides of your head, and the back of your head. Relax each and every part of you. Scan your body from your toes to the top of your head, noticing if there's any tension that you're holding anywhere. And as you breathe out with each exhalation, relax and release.
Okay, stop it.
Now, when you're ready, I want you to give yourself a stretch or a movement in any way that's comfortable. And come on back to center. When you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. Scan your body and notice how you feel. Now that I've made everyone nice and relaxed, we can't really go about our day this way. So it's important now that we infuse a little energy back into our bodies. And to do that, we'll do the final part of our practice, which is our circle of song. A circle of song is a back and forth sing-song. And what we're doing is, in traditional yoga, this is called chanting. I sing to you, you sing back to me, and this back and forth sing song is going to increase our oxygen, okay? It's going to support our breathing, and it's going to wake us up because sound is energy. Are you ready? Okay, so I'm just going to sing some names of my friends, and you'll come back, okay? If you'd like to unmute, feel free. If you'd like to sing without us hearing you, feel free to do that too. Okay, I will be the guide. It'll be my turn and then your turn. Okay, so Annie-o, Annie-o, Annie, Annie, Annie-o. Your turn. Annie-o, Annie-o, Annie, Annie, Annie-o. Annie-o, Annie-o, Annie, Annie-o. Your turn. Annie-o, Annie-o, Annie-o. Good. Annie-o, Annie-o, Annie, Annie, Annie-o.
Annie-o, Annie-o, Annie, Annie, Annie-o.
Annie, 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 Annie-o.
Annie, Annie, Annie-o.
Good. Okay. Sarah, oh, Sarah, oh, Sarah, 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 oh.
Sarah, oh, Sarah, oh, Sarah, 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 oh.
Sarah, oh, Sarah, oh, Sarah, Sarah, oh.
Sarah, oh, Sarah, oh, Sarah, 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 oh.
Sarah, oh, Sarah, oh, Sarah, 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 oh.
Sarah, oh, Sarah, oh, Sarah, 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 oh.
Sarah, 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 oh.
Sarah, 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 oh.
Oh, 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 oh.
Oh, 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 oh.
Peyton, oh, Peyton, oh, Peyton, 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 oh.
Peyton, oh, Peyton, oh, Peyton, 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 oh.
Peyton, oh, Peyton, oh, Peyton, Peyton, oh.
Peyton, oh, Peyton, oh, Peyton, Peyton, oh.
Peyton, oh, Peyton, oh, Peyton, 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 oh.
Peyton, oh, Peyton, oh, Peyton, 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 oh.
Peyton, 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 oh.
Peyton, 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 oh.
Oh, 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 oh.
Oh, 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 oh.
Okay, a little bit faster. James, oh, James, oh, James, 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 oh.
James, oh, James, oh, James, 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 oh.
James, oh, James, oh, James, James, oh.
James, oh, James, oh, James, James, oh.
James, oh, James, oh, James, 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 oh.
James, oh, James, oh, James, 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 oh.
James, 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 oh.
James, 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 oh.
Oh, 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 oh.
Oh, 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 oh. Uh-oh.
And O, and O.
And oh, and oh, and oh.
Sarah O, Sarah O, Sarah, Sarah O.
Sarah oh, Sarah oh, Sarah, Sarah oh.
Peyton O, Peyton O, Peyton, Peyton, Peyton O.
Peyton oh, Peyton oh, Peyton, Peyton, Peyton oh.
James, James, James O.
James, James, James oh.
O, 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 O.
Oh, 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 oh.
O, 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 O.
Oh, 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 oh.
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 Okay, let's complete our practice with a final spinal twist. We're going to seal in all the benefits of our practice today. So let's twist first to one side, looking over that shoulder. Come on back to center. Let's twist over to the other side, looking over that shoulder. And back to center. And finally, let's seal in the benefits by folding forward, bending forward, and sealing in all the benefits of our practice today. Thank you. Now it's time to talk about what we just did. But before we talk about that, can everybody close their eyes for a minute and check and see how they feel? Anyone want to tell us how they feel? No one wants to tell me how they feel. Well, I hope some of you feel good.
Much more relaxed.
More relaxed, but awake. Are you relaxed and awake? Okay.
Actually, yeah, a lot more than I was this morning.
Okay, very good. Okay, so that's great. All right, why don't we go to the slides now, Sarah, and we can talk a little bit about why we just did what we did, okay? Okay, so the first thing that we did was a meditation. And what meditation does is it helps to quiet our minds. You know that our minds think about 90,000 thoughts a day, and many of them are the same thoughts we thought yesterday. For so many of us, there's background chatter all the time. And so what meditation does is it quiets the mind. And when you have a quiet mind, it really releases a lot of stress and it helps with your focus. So a really nice source for meditation, free meditations online, is fragrant.heart.com. Okay? And what you'll notice after practicing meditation for a while, and you can do a 2-minute meditation, a 5-minute meditation each day. This is a great way to start or end your day by clearing your mind. Okay? It really helps to reduce physical and emotional stress, and it can also help to reduce pain. Meditation is a great tool for really helping your mind to be in a better place. From here, let's move on to the next slide. And we'll talk about our tapping. Our warm-up massage, which we can do or not do, really helps to improve circulation and oxygenated blood flow. So it gets the blood flowing to parts of our body that may not have too much movement. I like to use this massage. If I were there with you in person, I would be doing a hands-on massage to arms, legs, back, hands, and feet, just to, again, get that circulation going. It helps also to reduce skin sensitivity, and it helps improve body awareness and registration of where the body is in space, which is very organizing for the brain, okay? Our warm-up massage is a very helpful tool for our practice. Okay, let's see what's on our next slide. From here, we're going to talk about our sound breath. And what I didn't do with our sound breath today was I didn't include the posture supported part of the breath. But when we breathe in, we tend to expand or extend. And when we breathe out, flexion, if we fold, helps to support an extended exhalation. So sometimes we combine a sound breath with posture supported breath, inhaling and stretching up, and then exhaling and flexing or folding forward. Sound breath helps to vibrate our lungs. It helps to clear our airways and improve respiration. It is another great stress reducer. Whenever your breath out is longer than your breath in, what that's doing is it is calming your brain and your nervous system. It is impossible to be in a stressed out state when you are doing regulated breathing, okay? If you breathe in for a count of 3 and you breathe out for a count of 4 or 5, you are shifting your state from perhaps a stress state into a calmer state, right? The sound breath helps to facilitate breath regulation. And the nice thing about the sound breath is it can tell us how long our breath out is, because we can't see the breath, but if we can hear it, it helps us to get a sense of the strength and the length of our breath. Over time, that strength and length will increase, improve, okay, with a regular practice. Let's move on now to our next slide. So our posture series. In yoga, the goal of yoga is really to prepare the body, the mind, and the energy level to bring all of these 3 parts together to prepare. Yoga is a preparation. It's a warm-up for the day. And each pose has different benefits. The idea of this warm-up that we do with our body and our brain and our breath is to bring our entire system into a state of what we call balance or homeostasis, okay? So a starting point where our body and our brain is awake but calm, our muscles are firing, our blood is flowing, the oxygen is getting to our brain, we are in a good place. And so what our poses do is each pose has different benefits. Each pose can be supporting different organs in our body, different systems of our body. And I'll get into a couple of those in a slide or two. The whole entire series promotes a body and a brain that's in a good place, that's in a healthy place. When we practice regularly, this really supports our immune system. It helps to improve our ability to tolerate stress, to handle stress. We no longer become distressed. We're able to be more comfortable when things don't go our way, when situations are more taxing. It helps to support our immune function. It really strengthens our immune system. And it improves our flexibility. We know that when we don't get enough movement, we can develop contractures. We have limitations in some of our joints in movement. And so what happens when we begin to move these areas, we can help to loosen up some of the tension and tightness that we're holding in our joints and reduce contractures, okay? Our posture series also helps with improved digestion and elimination. It helps what's inside our body be able to move as well. And so taking out the garbage is an important part of the benefits of our yoga practice. Also, some of us may have digestive issues where we get upset stomachs, or we have, it's harder for us to digest our food. It might sit in our stomach. And so it helps our body to produce the enzymes that we need to break down our food so that digestion is easier, okay? And other benefits of our posture series is it helps to keep us alert, and it helps our endurance so that we have more energy throughout the day. So from here, let's move on and we'll talk about some other breathing exercises. All right, so we did our sound breath today, and the first level of sound breath can be vowel sounds, the sound of ah, the sound of e. We can also do front of the mouth sounds, and those are the sounds of like a blowing breath the sound of like snake, or the sound of shh, the big sleep. Those sounds vibrate different areas that help us with our sound production and our breath, okay? So sound breath, level 1, vowel sounds, level 2, the WH, the S, and the SH sounds. As I said before, our posture supported breathing. So breathing in as we stretch up, and then breathing out as we bend forward. And when it's possible, if you don't have you don't have congestion and mucus in your nose, whenever possible, you try to breathe in and out through your nose when you're doing yoga, okay? Our chest opening postures that we do during our practice, these are also supportive during our breathing exercises. And just having a pillow behind you in the chair to open up your chest, you know, for 15 minutes a day is another really great support for our breathing exercises. You want to make sure you're getting enough air, so just open a little bit each time, perhaps a bolster or roll towel down the back, and lean against it to just open up your airways, okay? These muscles on the side of your body, these are supportive breathing muscles. So when we lift our arm up over our head, rest it on our head, have somebody help us to lift our arm up. We can do this in bed or sitting up. We're stretching these supportive breathing muscles and opening up our airways this way as well, okay? And then finally, our circle of song. In yoga, in traditional yoga, a traditional chant would be singing for Hari, which means all that is, Jyoti, which is light, Prema, which is love, and Shanti, which is peace. And that's the traditional Sanskrit language from 6,000 years ago. We like to sing for our friends or sing for things that make us happy. So, but singing for peace, joy, love, and light is always a wonderful thing to sing for as well. Okay, so let's move on now. We'll talk about a couple of our postures. Okay, so extension postures, as I said before, and with Patty, my buddy, who I practice yoga with a few times a week, Patty and I vary between doing wheelchair practice and bed practice. And our extension postures are especially powerful when we do them in bed. We bring arms up over his head, and I give him a nice big stretch, okay? Opening up his chest and creating energy. Extension postures are energizing, right? As I showed you before, arms across the table. This is another extension posture. You can do one side and then the other. You can have both arms in bed out to the side, head back, and just breathe, okay? Using props, using support for unstable joints. We want to make sure that we always support our joints and we support closest to the body when we're helping to move, okay? Let's move on to our next slide. We'll talk about our flexion postures. So just as extension postures open us up, flexion postures pull us together. And the benefits are that flexion postures are calming, okay? They're not just calming, but they're also alerting. So when we bring our knees up to our chest or we bring our head down to our knees, when we're on our back on our bed, we can drop our knees to one side and turn our head to the other side. These are all flexion postures. And these postures help to stimulate our digestive organs. Okay, knee to chest, as I showed you earlier, is a flexion posture. Flexion postures help us to release stress in our lower back. And so, and the lowest part of our spine takes a lot of stress in the course of the day. This is the part of our spine that connects to our brain. And when we open up this area of our spine, this is what helps to connect us to what's called our parasympathetic system, our calming, restorative system. And so these forward bends that we do in our chair or our knee to chest poses that we do on our back in bed, these are great flexion postures that help to release that stress that we hold in our lower back. Again, modifications that we showed are using a boulder, a rolled mat on our knees, over our knees to rest our forehead as we're doing a seated flexion posture. Or to just bend forward and you'll prop where you need in order to be able to fold as far forward as possible. Okay. All right, let's move on now to our rotation postures. So we've extended, we've flexed, and now it's time for us to twist. We twist along a central axis. Our spine runs down the center of our body. And when we do rotations, we are literally pulling ourselves together. We are stimulating the organizing part of our brain. It helps to organize our mind and our body. Kind of helps to put all the other stuff that we don't need in the closet so that really we're pulling ourselves together. Okay. When you start doing rotation postures, you might notice that you don't lose your keys as often, but you remember things that were on your list to do today, right? Rotation postures can be done in bed, also in floor practice, and we can use different supports to do these. We want to prop as necessary, but not overdo it. We just want to make sure that the body is in good alignment. Okay, there are over 1,000 yoga postures. We can take 15 of these postures and we can really provide ourselves with a very well-rounded practice for the day. All right, let's move on now to our circle of song. All right, so our circle of song in yoga terminology is known as chanting. And this back and forth sing song, as I said earlier, strengthens our respiration. It's really a wonderful, wonderful tool for strengthening opening up our airways and strengthening our breath. So whenever we sing, singing is a breathing exercise. And this back and forth sing song really is a fun way to practice breathing, okay? Vibrating our lungs helps to clear our airways and reduce mucus production. And I've worked with kids who were producing tons and tons and tons of mucus and saliva. And the circle of song absolutely helped to reduce these both significantly, okay? So, and one more improved immune function activity that's part of our practice. All right, so let's move on to our next slide and then we'll take some questions. So to wrap it all up, yoga and meditation, these 5 parts of yoga are really wonderful wellness practices. They feel good, they help get our oxygen moving in our brain and in our body and our circulation going. It enhances our digestion, our elimination, our endurance. And what you'll notice is that your mood is better. You're much more positive. You feel good. You're able to self-regulate. That means you're able to maintain calm in states of distress or stress. And you don't catch colds. You stay stronger, healthier, okay? It enhances immune function. In a study that we did in New York City schools where I run a program, we had students who were, many of our medically fragile students that were participating in the program, they monitored attendance levels for these students, and the attendance levels increased significantly in the first year of the program. We've been tracking it ever since, which really surprised the administrators because they were practicing their yoga practice for the first 20 minutes each morning in the classroom. And what we found was overall the population of adults and students were much, much better. So from here, on to our next slide. If you have any questions for me, you can ask them now. And if you would rather ask me a question privately, you can always reach out to me at 4kidsot@aol.com. But let's take a few questions now if we have some time. We move a little closer and check our time. We're out of time just about.
And I think we can squeeze in a question before we log off. And again, if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat as well. And I'm actually just going to double check for any raised hands. So a question that did come in from one of our attendees earlier actually was, are there any yoga movements that are particularly beneficial for ambulatory SMA patients with SMA who are type 3?
So I would say that getting into cat-cow, so getting up on hands and knees on the floor, and cat-cow is, we did it in sitting, but you're in quadruped. So basically you're up on your hands and knees and you're weight bearing. So you're strengthening your arms and you're strengthening your legs in this position. And then you're also working your spine. So if you Google cat-cow pose, you'll see this is a very basic yoga pose that it's one of my favorites. It's a really very helpful, I would say, for a type 3 to practice. Okay? And to go from that into child's pose, back and forth into those two poses are really very powerful.
Perfect.
Okay.
And it looks like we actually had one other question come in the chat. They are asking, if we are helping a toddler without the skills or strength to attempt these steps, do you see that mom works well?
So passive range of motion, yes. So passive range of motion, what we're doing in our yoga practice is essentially, when we're supporting, helping someone to practice the sequence, we are assisting them in doing passive range of motion. We are moving through the postures and ranging and doing a range of movements. So essentially, yes, what we're doing when we do passive range of motion is we're increasing the oxygen, we're increasing the circulation, and we are preventing contractures, among other things. Very important. We need to move the body. If we can't move the body ourselves, we need to help others to move their bodies. Okay?
Thank you. And then we'll just end it off with one quick question. Is it better to eat before doing the exercises or to practice on an empty stomach?
It is best to practice on an empty stomach, but if you wake up starving and you need something to hold you over, having like a light juice or a smoothie before you practice would be okay. What you don't want to have is steak and eggs. Nothing heavy in the belly for 2 hours is what is recommended. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And that concludes our Q&A portion. And I just want to thank you again, Anne, and thank you everyone for joining us today. You're going to be receiving a follow-up email that'll have a survey link, and we'd appreciate any feedback that you have to share with us. And we'll also be emailing our randomly selected prize winner within the next 24 hours. So congratulations to whoever that will be, and thank you again. And then we're also thankful for the incredible support from our presenting sponsor, Genentech, for making this program possible. We're also going to be hosting 2 more wellness webinars, so mark your calendars. We've got one on Tuesday, October 5th, that will cover effective communication for healthy relationships, and one on Wednesday, November 3rd, that will cover mindfulness for self-compassion. So just be sure to register in advance and get in any questions you might have. And if there's anything else that we can do for you, or if you have any other questions, please reach out to us at communitysupport@curesma.org. Thank you so much and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you.